Hi, folks. This is Mr. MegaManFan. Like, share, comment, subscribe. You know all the things to do. And today we are looking at Beebiss 2. What is Beebiss 2? Well, it was an urban legend for a very, very long time. It appeared in a catalog that you could buy NES games from, and many people believed it was a dummy entry put in the catalog for other people who copied their list and put it in their own catalog so that a fake game would show up when other people borrowed the list. But after so many years of this game being speculated about whether or not it actually existed, whether or not it was a dummy entry in a list in a catalog, John Riggs, the YouTuber and social media personality, decided to make a real game out of it, and he got Chips and Cellos, one of my favorite YouTube 8-bit tune channels, to compose the music for it, and here we have it. It is now a fully fledged indie game, and I am playing it on the Evercade Versus. How is this possible? Well, once a month for most of the last year, if you download the latest firmware of the Evercade Versus, they put a free indie game on there. And all of the games that they've been featuring monthly are going to be in the next Indie Heroes cartridge that they release for the system. In fact, when you're watching this video, it might even be available for pre-order or purchase. So I don't have any affiliate links or any Amazon links or anything to that, but if you go looking for Indie Heroes Volume 2 for Evercade, it might be available, and this game would be part of it. So what did John Riggs come up with for Beebiss 2, a fictional game made real? Well, it's... How do I describe it? I'm trying to think what it would compare to. I suppose I get a little bit of a Lode Runner vibe from it, only you're not digging traps, but you are taking out monsters. Maybe a little bit of a Bubble Bobble vibe to it. The ladders that you see in these levels, you don't actually go up and down them. You jump up and down them. That's a little strange, but you get used to it after a while. It doesn't matter whether you play as the male or the female protagonist. They both control the same way. They both have a weapon that sticks out in front of them that you can activate with one of the buttons on the controller. Whichever controller you're using, I'm using the standard Evercade controller that came with the console. So one button to jump and one to activate your weapon. Or you can just simply hold down the button and keep the weapon active full time, which I eventually started doing. It doesn't run out of juice or anything. But each level you have a goal. Take out a certain number of enemies, or evil, as they are referred to, with your magic wand. I shouldn't call it a magic wand. It's some sort of device, but it looks like a magic wand, right? And if you reach that goal, you've cleared the level, and if you don't get that many enemies before time runs out, it's game over. Although, like any Evercade game, you could just rewind or play it back from a save state or do any of the things that you want to do to restart your game and get going again. But I don't feel like that's necessarily the way to play it. I think it's more like take it as far as you can go and start over, because it's just that kind of quick finger action game where you don't have to put a lot of thought into how to play it or what to do, when to play it. Like, you're not mapping out levels here. You're not doing a Metroidvania where you have to unlock new areas by going back to previous areas and finding items. This is just a single screen game. Take out all the enemies on the screen. Actually, that's the best way to describe it that I've come up with, and I'm now like halfway or more through the video. It's a single screen action game. Why didn't I just say that from the beginning? That's what this is. Is it good? I mean, it's charming. It's got retro style, 8-bit style graphics. It's got a very nice, enjoyable soundtrack with classical tunes in 8-bit renditions from a composer I already knew going in. And perhaps I'm even a little biased because I already knew John Riggs going into playing this. I've been a subscriber to his YouTube channel for a long time. I actually follow him on a couple of social media platforms, and he follows me on one of them, although I really don't see much of him unless I tag him in something, and I try not to do that because I'm sure he gets tagged in a million things, and I don't want to clog up his timeline like that. So I wouldn't say we're like buds, but I would also say we're not like unfamiliar with each other because we have interacted on places before, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. So I might be biased. But then again, it's a free game, right? I mean, was I not going to play it just because I might personally know him just a little bit? It's not like I'm in the Metal Jesus crew. That would be super biased because then I would actually be hanging out with him at cons like Portland Retro Gaming Expo or Midwest Gaming Classic, and we've never hung out like that. I don't run in those circles. Not that I wouldn't share a slice of pizza or a beer with any of them, but I'm just saying I'm from the Midwest and they're from the Pacific Northwest, so our trains don't exactly run in the same circles unless we're all at a RetroCon, and even then they would be celebrities and I'd be a nobody. I'd just be Mr. MegaManFan, the YouTuber nobody's heard of, and they'd be the guys that have lines around the convention just waiting to meet them or get an autograph. So yeah, what I'm trying to say here is whoever team, whoever people, whatever decisions were made when John Riggs decided to make Beebiss 2, they were the right ones. The people he chose to do all of the different elements that he put into this game that made it a full-fledged release. It works. It takes something that was an urban legend and a bit of an in-joke and actually made it into a real thing. And that tickles me that it's now real, and it is also pleasant to know that it's a fun game to play. It's not super complex, it's not super advanced, but it gets the job done. If you just want a little bit of a time killer, something you could play for 10-15 minutes, put it down, walk away, play it again later. I mean, I say that and it makes it sound like a mobile phone game. It's more than a mobile phone game. You actually need a controller and a D-pad and a little bit of skill because not all of the enemies or quote-unquote evil interact with you in the same way. Some shoot out a tongue in front of you and you have to jump over and avoid it or it drains your life. Some take more hits on your magic wand than others before they are defeated. You know, there's strategy here that you can't. There are obstacles to jump over. There are levels you have to fall from to get enemies quickly before your time runs out. There are extra time bonuses to pick up. You know, some enemies drop time that freezes the clock, like you just see there. Like you just saw there. Tongue-tied, what can I say? But I'm also trying to make dinner while I'm doing this video, so perhaps I'm a little bit distracted. But anyway, if you have an Evercade, if you have the Evercade Versus, I would get this one. Get the firmware update, play it. I think it's pretty fun. And if it's part of the Indie Heroes collection, I think it will be a nice inclusion there as well. I'm Mr. MegaManFan. This is a homebrew review, and this is Beebiss 2 from John Riggs and Rigged Games. And I think it's fun. Maybe you will too. If you do, leave a comment. If you don't, leave a comment. Or maybe just buy a physical copy, because he made some of those too, and I believe they're for the NES console. So that's all.